Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good night. Welcome to a different edition of our Dailyish Devotionals. I am Pastor Brian, and every time I sat down to do a Dailyish Devotional today, I just couldn't find the spark or the inspiration. So I'm going to do one a little differently today. I'm just going to ramble on, share my opinions about what's been happening in the world this past week. Basically, maybe mostly for a cathartic and healing experience for me. If you'd rather not hear that, then just skip today. Way back to our normal devotional tomorrow. There's a creek don't rise. But today, I don't know, I feel like I need to get something off my chest. And tomorrow maybe we can get back to the normal silliness, what the daily devotionals are. First, let me say how inadequate anything I say probably feels, or is. I struggle because I want things to change. I'd like to be part of the change, but how do I do that? Right? It breaks my heart to see the damage to local businesses, of course. It breaks my heart to see African American men and minority men and women treated so differently, even killed while in police custody and treated so differently by police. I've never said anything about it before because, frankly, it's easier just to kind of ignore it or couch it in the terms of Jesus says love everybody, we should love everybody, and then just move on. I said something. Because I like to hold on to that illusion that everyone likes me, right? So stand up and say something that might be being controversial or some people won't agree with, then you're running the risk of people not liking what you say and therefore not liking you. It's just easier to stay silent. I think maybe as we've learned through this, that is one of the biggest problems, is that it's just easy to stay silent. That is partly what's wrong. Those of us in power don't say anything, or much at all. And it is wrong to kill black men in police custody. It is wrong the different way they are treated. I have a very small experience living with my roommate Mark Keith up in Minneapolis, an African American man, and he told me numerous times he was just stopped. I guess he was driving in a pretty well-to-do white neighborhood. He was a black man. How many times he got stopped by police? How many times I got stopped? Never. He wasn't that worse driver than I. Just the way you look. And that's just one small experience that I have. Many others that are worse could be. So our silence needs to stop. We need to hold accountable elected officials. So if leadership change is what you believe in, then you need to vote in leaders that you believe will make a change. If they don't, speak up, vote again. Before I get too far, I suppose if you're still listening, obviously destruction of property, injuring of police officers and innocent people and business owners, wrong. Okay? Yeah, you can support the police, you can support not destroying property, and also support frustration, the madness, and the anger that leads some people to that. Yeah, there are outside influences probably enforcing and claiming it. Part of that's our trouble because we're too lazy to do any kind of fact checking or too lazy to do any reading beyond what already informs our own opinions. So I will say that up front. Just want to acknowledge that. But when we focus only on the knuckleheads, the riots, so when I say knuckleheads, I mean those that are destroying property and those that are injuring innocent people and police officers, when that becomes a focus, then we have failed. Because we forget conveniently about what led to that. What another deep problem in our society is, and that is the treatment of minorities, especially African American men and women, by those in power, police. and others. It's hard. I don't think if you're honest, you can admit that it's anywhere near fair. But they don't have something they need. Something doesn't need to be fixed. A way to be part of the change, maybe? Educate yourself. Read from a different perspective. Pick up a book or an article from a minority voice, someone who's lived a different perspective than you. And then be open-minded and willing to learn. That's something that our family's going to try, is to find an article, a book, something where we can learn the other side's perspective and experiences. And then with the us versus them stuff. We're all humans on this blue marble. Jesus says love everyone. We sure don't act like it. So no more putting up with off-colored jokes, statements or stories about minorities or thugs or those people. Walk away from the conversation. Tell that person you don't agree with that statement or that's not funny. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it's probably hard. But if we're not willing to make a stand or a change for even those small, not much is going to change around the world. We always like to find a scapegoat, right? The media's might be. We also need an open and free media to show us what's going on. We get our source from only one source, we're in trouble. So as part of the educating yourself, find different voices. Listen to different voices, especially voices you don't agree with, and especially voices that make you feel uncomfortable. Probably something there you need to hear and you need to learn. I am going to be better about that. Glad we live in a small community. I've heard that. I am. And that is true. It does insulate us from a lot of the world's problems. But it also insulates us from a lot of the world's problems. It kind of gives us the what we get out of jail free card. Well, and this doesn't affect us here. Well, our children, our young people will probably get up and move to a different area where it may affect them. It's our responsibility to give them complete or a bigger world view than just our own myopic view that we have. So I guess my biggest takeaway has been there is a problem. I need to be part of the voice that stands up to say there's a problem, we need to fix it. Fix it with my vote. Fix it with the way my family and I educate ourselves about the trouble that we have, racism, the systemic, down the privilege that we have, and then just not putting up with off-color stories, stereotypes. Just point them out. Be a jerk about it. Walk away. Hey, that's not funny. We're going to need to be uncomfortable for there to be change. I think that's the biggest problem. We don't like to be uncomfortable. Change comes when we're uncomfortable. Find ways to educate yourself. For God's sakes, remember it. We're all human beings trying to do our best. We all deserve the same. So if someone's being treated the way you would want to be treated, stand up for that person. Help that person. Find a way you can be part of the solution. Amen? Whatever it is, it's done now.